Next Sunday is Christmas Day. We won't be doing a song on Christmas Day. So I thought I would kind of talk about one of the great world myths. And hopefully I don't offend too many Christians out there who want to believe that it's a historical event. But if it was for Christendom, then it was for, Native Americans, South American natives, there's some African tribes, Indian. I mean, the idea of a virgin birth or an extraordinary birth, an auspicious birth, is a myth as old as human beings, and it has a very important message behind it, which is not that somehow the laws of the universe get set aside for a moment. What it really represents is your timeless being. It's a way of giving expression to something that can't be expressed. How do you express the timeless? Can't use music, can't use dance or any art form. You can't use language because all of that happens in time. There's no events, no ideas, no concepts, no knowledge. Nothing can express the timeless. That is, accurately, perfectly represent that which is outside of time. And so it has to be represented by some characterization, some story, some set of extraordinary circumstances that can point to that which is beyond any kind of explanation. Timeless is being. I mean, being or truth or what is or existence itself. Existence can't become non-existent. Nor is it made up of some particles, nor can it be made up of a series of events, because then it would inevitably have a beginning and ending, literally infinite numbers of beginnings and endings as the particles of the events just flow on. That which is can never be that which is not. And this is what that virgin birth actually represents. It represents your original innocence, your original being, that which was here before the body you're currently walking around in existed. There's a famous koan in Zen. What did you look like before your parents were born? And the point of it is to shake our minds out of our attachment to form, to thinking of ourselves in terms of the form. Your form, the body, the physical body, the meat suit that you walk around in is constantly replenishing itself. It's constantly changing. If that stops, it dies. I mean, that's the whole process of death, is that the process of self-replenishment begins to slow down, deteriorate, and eventually stop. We call that death. But birth and death is happening constantly. It never stops. But what isn't happening constantly? What is absolutely still? The stillness itself. Your timeless being that is outside of time. And you can get a glimpse of that, a little glimpse of that, by simply noticing that throughout your life, there has been something that hasn't changed. It's been absolutely constant. Think back to when you were 5 years old and what you were doing and experiencing, the thoughts you were having, the feelings you were having. All of that was going on. And then just see if you can tune into that the actual experience of experiencing, the sense of something there that was watching all of this happen. Consciousness, the pure mind. And notice that between then and now, the essence of it is the same. It hasn't changed. It's timeless. Time is nothing but change. That's all it is. Time is not a thing. It's not like we talk about the time like a river carrying things along, but it's not that at all, right? There's just constant change. There's this constant flow, and we measure the distance between what we would two discrete events, and we call that time. So time and events and flow and form are one thing that arises all simultaneously. There's not time and events or time and form. They are simultaneous. They happen all at once. Buddha referred to this as dependent arising. So what is that which isn't changing? Now, notice, since it's not changing, you can't conceive of it. You can't notice it. If it has no moving parts, if it's indivisible, if it's irreducible, it isn't made of something else. How do you perceive it? How do you see it? How do you know it? Well, the only thing I can do is point to the essential experience that we are all having right now. And that is the experience of your own being. The experience of your being. And just put your attention there for a moment and notice that no matter what's going on, how cluttered or calm, how fortunate or unfortunate, that at the center of it is simply a sense of my own existence. Now, did that sense of existence have a beginning? Did it have a birth? Really look closely and look not to the mind, because we assume that everything had a beginning and an end. But I'm asking you, from the point of view, really look right now at your own experience. Can you find a beginning to it? And if you found some place that was a beginning, wouldn't you have to be there and have witnessed it happening? So that witnessing didn't have a beginning. We have to assume. We can imagine that it did. We can come up with ideas that it did. But when you look closely, you find there's absolutely no evidence for it. Nobody can give a direct testimony of before or after. We can only speak of now. And then we imagine time, events playing out. And yet, all you ever experience is right now. So we imagine that there was a beginning and there was an end. But what do you actually know right now? Right this moment? Can that end? Can now ever stop? These are contemplative things. These are the kind of things that you chew over, you puzzle over. Even meditation is an aid to just come to a place where you're no longer distracted by theories and ideas and concepts and assumptions. And attention becomes more and more rooted just in this sense of existence that is not changing, that you didn't create. It's there effortlessly. There's nothing you need to do to get it, and there's nothing you can do to get rid of it. It's you. It's you without anything extra added. And so the purpose of meditation is to really discipline our attention so that we are rooted in this emptiness, this place that isn't moving, that has no moving parts. It has no form. This is the actual meaning of the virgin birth, or the birthless birth, or the timeless birth. This isn't a denial of experience. It isn't a request that you don't experience anymore. Obviously, that's not possible. But what you experience is this constant flux, so constant and so fluctuating that no matter how thinly you sliced time, you would never find anything there. It would always be empty. And this is what Buddha points to when he refers to the nature of being as emptiness. It's timeless. It's not an it at all. It cannot be conceived. And yet, it's you. It's not like you have no reference point you're just floating through space, right? There is something extremely real and extremely unchanging and solid as El Capitan, the world's largest piece of granite. And that is you, your being. And the mission here is simply purging from our minds all self-concepts that are attached to a form, that are attached to time, that are attached to space, that are attached to conditions. And then mind becomes purified. And then mind is no longer even mind. It is not the psychological mind. It is not the conceptual mind. It is the pure experience of being. Pure mind, pure consciousness, pure awareness, Buddha nature are all the same thing. You know, in Zen, usually when I talk about mind, I think I'm digressing here a little bit, but bear with me. When I talk about mind, I'm usually referring to the psychological mind, the patterns of thought, the consistent patterns of thinking that go on. And that concept mind is simply an abstraction. So somebody like Ramana would say, without thought, there is no mind. It's only a word that represents this very complex flow of stuff. Right? But if you read Zen literature, especially the Zen literature of like from Bodhidharma and the six patriarchs through China and Japan, they use mind in the sense of the pure mind, Buddha mind. What I would call pure consciousness, they would just simply call mind. But they also refer to the psychological mind. But so you could think of pure mind as being the power of manifestation of pure awareness, because somehow that which is totally empty gives rise to all of this. That power of creation is the true mind. And that's your true being. It's both. It is not one or the other. It's not absolute or relative. In Zen, you would hear them say, there's no difference between a Buddha and a deluded person. They are of the same substance. They both originate from the same place. Your true being has never gone through forms. It had no beginning. It has no end. It will never end. It has no shape. It has no color. It has no gender. It has no beliefs. It's not located anywhere. It is not a place in space or time. This is, in fact, what you are experiencing right now. But we have just been conditioned to project upon that pure experience the illusion or false assumption of a world functioning independently with objective events taking place. This is what Buddha meant by no self. Nothing you experience has inherent existence. It is all inherent existence is a projection of the psychological mind. There's not even a need to purify your mind. That would assume that you were impure to start with and had to become pure. You only need to recognize that you always were that you always were the Buddha. It is a realization, not an attainment.